Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is for Tyler Perry's Sistas, Season 7, Episode 19, It Takes a Village. So we open up the episode with Jordan, and it's been 2 weeks since Andi came in, broke up with him, left his chest all caved in because now all he's doing is sitting on the sofa talking to the TV, heartbroken, stressed out, and depressed. So then he gets a phone call and it's Penelope, so he kind of snaps out of it. And, he's trying to make sure she's all right, and she says she's fine. And, they get to talking, and she's like, well, didn't you talk to Andi? And he says, yes, but that was weeks ago. And I'm like, well, did Andi tell Penelope that she told Jordan? Because I'm a little confused with that. But anyway, so he wants to know what's up with the baby, how's the baby doing? And she tells him that she lost the baby due to complications. And he's looking like, look, if that mofo did something to you. And she was like, look, I don't want to talk about all that. This just wasn't the right time, and it wasn't the right situation. And Penelope knows that had she told Jordan that Gary did something to her to cause her to lose her child, he would blow a gasket and blow the whole FBI investigation. So again, she wanted him to know that this phone call was not about Gary. She called to check on her brother to see how he was doing. And he goes back into his sunken place like, everybody that I love is gone. And she's like, well, you still have Andi. He told her that they broke up. Penelope is surprised to hear this and says that doesn't sound like Andi. Something must be up. So Penelope starts giving him this pep talk, letting him know he needs to fight for Andi, fight for their love, go and talk to her. And he says, no, I'm done. And she stays trying to motivate him, letting him know she still believes in him because anything he's ever wanted, he's always fought for. So she's basically telling him, get up off your behind, go win that election and go win Andi's heart back. So she gets a knock on the door and he hears it and was like, who was that? And she tells him she has to go, and she hangs the phone up. So the next thing we see Tony and Rich going over to Jordan's because they haven't heard from him in the last 2 weeks. He's ignoring them in the group chat. So they're bamming on the door, knocking, hollering out his name. Tony doesn't seem really all that concerned. He's like, look, he's in there listening to Drew Hill. He's down bad. Rich is concerned about his friend and he wants him to open the door. He goes to the car. He starts honking the horn like they're in the projects, screaming out to him until Jordan texts him and says that the door is unlocked. So when they get inside, they realize Jordan hasn't moved a muscle in 2 weeks and apparently has not had a bath. They want to know that Andi take the shower with them, so apparently it really smells in there. He has food all over the place, and you could tell he's just depressed. So the guys, they try to show their concern, and Jordan says that he hasn't been ignoring them. He's been working on his campaign. And Rich was like, well, I hope you haven't been talking to your voters looking like that. And I'm wondering, where has Ethan been? Because he's normally popping up any other time. So you mean to tell me Ethan hasn't been to Jordan's house in 2 weeks? And then he has the picture of him and Andi still sitting on the end table that has the bug on it. Like, you could tell he's still not over Andi, because had that been me, that picture frame would have been in the trash. So then Tony fixes his mouth to tell Jordan that he is somebody that lost his bee and found it in himself. And I'm like, Tony, what is your problem? So they bring up the campaign again, and Jordan was like, he doesn't even know if he wants to win. So Tony, he scoffs, telling Jordan, you mean to tell me you gonna give up your campaign because of Andi? Like Andi of all people? Like that trash? Like, what are you trying to say, Tony? Like, who are you? So basically, Tony was trying to make it out like Andi is this 304, talking about she's probably lying somewhere in the next dude's face outside in these streets. Not somewhere crying like Mary J. Blige, but out there acting up like the city girls. And his whole thing is he wants Jordan to get up off his behind, take a bath, and go get some ass. Like, forget Andi, go find you another chick. So he wants to move on quick. So we see what type of time he's on. Rich, on the other hand, is more like, get motivated, get up off your behind and go win this election. Focus on other things so you won't have to be sitting in the house depressed. But Rich, he does confirm that Andi hasn't been talking to her girls because Sabrina hasn't heard from her. So he tells Jordan that he's going to find out the truth when they get to this baby shower, but he needs to make sure that when they're trying to check in and make sure that he's okay, he needs to respond. So we go over there to the bank, and Damani, he comes in and he gives Sabrina the article that was written up featuring her from the interview that they had 2 weeks ago. So Sabrina, she's really impressed with the picture that he chose and the article itself. So he mentions to her that he purposely purposely didn't put the fertility information in the article, and she was thankful for that because she just says she was blabbing off at the mouth because she really felt comfortable telling him all of her business. So he asked her, has she found a donor yet, or did her boyfriend come to his senses? And she tells him she hasn't found anyone yet. And he says, well, I'll give you my sperm because, hey, I used to do it back in college, so it's no big thing for me. Just call me Jaheem, ready, willing, and able. And to my surprise, after meeting this man just 2 weeks ago, Sabrina actually considers it. She wants to see his teeth. She wants to know his family medical history. She wants to see a baby photo, which, by the way, he just happens to have in his phone. And I'm like, where they do that at? And Damani, he's very blunt with it. It's like, you want this sperm or not? And I'm quite sure since he's been low-key flirting this entire time, he wants to give her that sperm the traditional way. So we head over there to Zach and Fatima's, and they're getting ready to go to the baby shower. Zach, he's anxious. He's rushing Fatima, asking her how much longer. She's dragging her feet, playing in her makeup because, truth be told, she really doesn't want to go. So Zach asks her, like, what's going on? What's wrong? So she tells Zach that she never thought she'd be put in a position where she was going to a baby shower of her fiance who's having a baby with another woman. Now, don't get me wrong, Fatima is human and she does have feelings and she's entitled to feel some type of way about certain things. But the thing is, Fatima put her own self in this particular position because when Zach came to her and told her Karen was pregnant, Fatima wanted to continue the relationship with Zach and told him it is what it is. It's part of life. They were going to deal with it. And she's been screaming through hell and high water with whatever Zach has going on and that she's not going anywhere. So all of a sudden now that she's invited, everybody's on one accord. Everybody's getting along. Fatima doesn't want to go. All I can tell you, girl, take the S up off your chest. Protect your sanity. Protect your peace. If you don't want to go, don't go. So Zach, he tries to convince her that he's in the same boat, that people are looking at him crazy, him and Aaron looking like trash R&B artists. I'm like, Zach, you haven't cared about how this situation made you look since the moment Karen told you you and Aaron were both the fathers. You've been like a kid in a candy store. But he tells her, look, if you don't want to go, then I'll just say that something came up. So she says, well, since Karen invited me, I'll just go ahead and make it do what it do. And he says, well, good, because I was lying. I need you to go. And I'm like, see, that's part of the problem right there. Zach is too needy and depends on Fatima way too much, but she has enabled him to be that way. So Fatima, she sucks it up. They talk meditation and positive vibes only and tell each other that they love him like they do. And they proceed to leave to go to the baby shower. And of course, my question, because I'm going to ask, is where the heck is Michael? I didn't hear anything in the dialogue that suggested that Miss Rose was upstairs putting him to bed. I mean, did she even start working yet? So Zach, before you go frolicking around all up and through these streets, where's your son? So we head over there to the law firm and we see Andi and Hayden in the conference room when Miss Marie comes storming in there like a tornado, hollering and talking about, you got my time, like tell me y'all have some information on Roger or I'm taking my business somewhere else. I'm like, girl, we so tired of hearing that. You've been saying that from day one. And at this point, lady, don't talk about it, be about it. So Hayden, he tries to tell Miss Marie that Roger over there sleeping with his secretary, and she doesn't believe it. Like, have you seen her? As if she's not good enough for Roger to even touch. And one thing about it, the coochie has no face. And Hayden, he makes a slick comment like you'll be surprised what a person will deal with behind closed doors, with him speaking from experience as he's sleeping with her. So he tells her about all these little bank accounts he has hidden all in the ladies' names or whatever. And Miss Marie really doesn't care about that. She wants to find out some cheating information. And I don't know why she's so set on that when she's cheating her damn self. It makes absolutely no sense. So she gets on Andi's case because Andi is not even talking. And she wants to know who pissed in her coffee. So Andi said that she's fine and clearly preoccupied. And Miss Marie was like, well, you just let him one up you and you are the better attorney. And looks at Hayden like, no offense. Hayden was like, some taken. So Andi, she says she has been a bit distracted and she has to leave to go to a baby shower. And Miss Marie was like, oh my God, like, don't let me hold you up. I'm just here trying to win a case. And she gets into Andi's behind and says, remember when I told you when I first got here that you need to stay 3 steps ahead and don't fall behind. Andi, she doesn't respond. She just looks like she's scared as a mouse and leaves. So Hayden, he gets up to leave behind Andi and Miss Marie grabs his arm like, where do you think you're going? He says to get the concrete proof that you want. She says, look, that can wait. your office now, looking at him all seductively in his eyes. And Hayden, he starts licking his lips like he think he's the big man on campus now, like he got it going on. He's like, yes, ma'am. So apparently these two don't think fat meat is greasy and that they can't get caught, but I don't think Miss Marie really gives a damn. So to finish Hayden off later on in the day when he gets home, Tamara bum rushes him at the door and starts kissing him all in his mouth. And he was like, damn, hold up. You act like I just got out of prison. I was only at work. So she was like, oh, it's like that? Then she starts feeling something in her mouth and she pulls it out and she's like, what's this? So she holds it up and says that it's a pubic hair and it's gray and tells Hayden that it came from him. So Hayden, he basically denied anything and she said, where has your mouth been? He said, oh, it might have been something I ate. And she says, or someone. And he basically used the reverse psychology like, how do I know you wasn't up in here sucking off some geriatric sugar daddy? And for the life of me, I can't understand why Tamara is not feeling sick as a dog. She is sitting there twirling this little pubic hair all up and through her fingers. I'm like, no ma'am. I would have been throwing up right there on the spot and running to the bathroom to clean my mouth out real good. Like, oh my God. So the two of them are going back and forth about who's doing what, who's doing who. We know that Hayden, he's over there messing with Miss Marie. We know Tamara is messing with Gary. Hayden called her out on it, saying that she's been on some creep crap for the last month and told her before she can question him about anything, she needs to show him what she's hiding on her phone. And of course, she had nothing to say because all you can hear was crickets. So Mama Lisa, she goes to pick Karen up to take her to the baby shower and they have a quick conversation. So they talk about how Aaron and Zach are getting along and how it doesn't seem real. Mama Lisa told her, well, just enjoy it while it lasts. And Karen expresses that she doesn't think it's going to be enough support once these kids get here. And Mama Lisa tries to reassure her that she definitely has a lot of hands-on and a lot of support. And how she wishes that when she was raising Karen, she had that type of support. So the two of them just wished for a drama-free event. And Karen said all she got is her belly and her appetite. So we get over there to the baby shower, which is being held at Andi's penthouse. And you have Sabrina and Pam talking to the guests and letting them know that they can get snacks and drinks as they wait for Karen to get there. So Zach, he says he's going to mingle. Danny sends him over there to say hello to Tony. So he goes up to them and introduces himself and they dap each other up. So for some strange reason, Rich decided to pour Zach a drink. Like, first of all, how do you know he even drinks? Like, who told you to do that? But Zach took the drink, but okay, whatever. So Rich was like, well, how long have you known these girls? Zach tells them too long and how they had a front row seat to everything that him and Karen went through. He tells them that Danny and Sabrina, they're both cool and that Danny did hold him down when he had nothing. So Rich, still asking 21 questions, now he wants advice from Zach on how to handle the girls. First of all, Rich, your main problem with Sabrina is the fact that you don't want kids. That's it and that's all. Otherwise, the two of you would be fine. So there's nothing Zach could tell you that's going to rectify that. And jokingly, he tells them to run. And I'm like, quiet as it's kept, people are telling Fatima to run from your behind. But that's neither here nor there. So he says, with these girls, just expect the unexpected. So now Zach has two new best friends he can film with. So Danny and Fatima, they're over there chopping it up. And Danny tells her, she's surprised she made it. Fatima agrees, but Karen invited her, so she's just going to go with the flow. They talk about Karen and Danny making up, and they agree that the people you love are sometimes the one who gets on your nerves the most. And Danny was like, look, it happens. It's been going on for the last 20 years. What's a couple of more decades? So the two of them, they're all good now. So Danny tells Fatima, I'm really wondering how you're doing, how you're feeling, because I know this is hard for you. So Fatima, she was like, she's just trying to stay out of her head, and that every time she thinks things can't get any crazier, Zach proves her wrong, and she's just hoping that they're past that point. So Pam, she introduces Karen. Karen, she addressed the guests. She tells them thank you for coming out. She lets it be known she doesn't want them to be awkward. She has two babies with two different dads, and it's a lot going on. She has a lot of regrets, but she doesn't regret what's to come. She feels like everybody is now on the same page, and they want the same things, happy, healthy babies. Andi, she finally shows up to her own house, and Sabrina's like, well, where have you been? She said she had a work thing. Sabrina was like, oh, for 2 weeks? And she said, look, it's a long story. And Danny was like, well, are you a spy? Because every time we ask you a question, you give us some like cryptic answer. We're trying to find out about Jordan. But once again, before Andi could get anything out, Rich and Tony pop up and she speaks to them and they give her their ass to kiss. I said, oh, hell no. First of all, Tony and Rich, this is Andy's house that you're standing in, which you shouldn't even be there in the first place if you ask me. You don't know Zach or Aaron. You don't know Karen. So you really shouldn't even be there like that. And for you to try to give her the cold shoulder and act like she don't exist in her own house is utterly ridiculous to me. I would have told them to get to stepping. This is my house. Sabrina and Danny sitting there like they don't hear what's going on or they don't see it. So Andi says that she deserved that treatment. And I'm like, no, you really don't, because whatever happened between you and Jordan is your business. It's not their business, really. And they are in your house. So then she asks them how Jordan is doing. And they try to make it seem like, oh, he's good. He's fine. He ain't think about you type attitude. And then Rich breaks like, please give him a call. Like, my dog's suffering. And Tony looks at him like, man, you're supposed to keep it going. So Danny says, I'm sure she had her reasons. And Tony jumping in once again with his raggedy behind, talking about some people don't need a reason. They just cold-hearted. Ain't that right, Andi? And I'm like, Tony, go kick rocks with some open-toe shoes on and get out of our face, please. So Andi was like, I do have my reasons. I just can't talk about it right now. And Sabrina talking about, oh, I don't like when you hold things back. She's like, look, it's a lot of people here and I can't talk about it. Then you hear Tony in the back, well, they're your friends. So feeling the pressure, Andi gets up and she's like, look, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. And Sabrina makes a little slick comment. Oh, do you remember where your bathroom is? And once again, Tony jumps in and says, oh, because you forgot where your friends were. After this episode, Tony is officially on that hit list. So Zach, he gets in front of the crowd and he basically makes a speech and he proceeds with the gender reveal. He shows that his shirt is pink and he's having a girl. He kisses Karen's stomach and he's excited. Aaron reveals his shirt. He's having a girl. The two guys, they're ecstatic about having daughters. When they show Fatima's face, she's looking like she is not happy about it. She looks uncomfortable. And honestly, I feel like that should be right up Fatima's alley because in episode 2 of this season, Fatima said she wanted to have a Zach Jr. Now she has her opportunity.
I was supposed to have a junior.
Yes, of course.
So I didn't have a problem with it.
So Karen, she starts giving out thank you. She tells Sabrina, thank you for everything that you've done for my twins. She also thanks Pam. She addresses Danny. She says that, although they've gone through what they've gone through or whatever, she knows that Danny is a real one. And she basically asks both ladies, Sabrina and Danny, would they be the godparents to her kids? And they accept, of course. So she looks at Andi and she was like, thank you for allowing us to have the baby shower here. And she makes Andi the rich auntie to the twins. So then Karen, she calls Fatima's name and everybody start moving and shuffling like something getting ready to pop off. So she says to her that she knows that their path has been rocky and it hasn't been easy. But she sees how Fatima treats Michael and how she pushes Zach to be held accountable for being a good father. And she adds that she knows that Fatima will play an important role in her kid's life, meaning she knows Fatima not going anywhere and she's going to be there. But she tells her she's thankful for her. Zach and Fatima, they are in awe. They are wowed by Karen and her kind words, and they thank her. So once again, Karen thanked everyone, called them the village, and they all raised their glass and toast to the village. Hopefully this is a step in the right direction, but like Mama Lisa says, enjoy it while you can. Now the baby shower is over. Mama Lisa is telling Karen to say goodbye to Aaron for her, and we learned that Aaron has already gone to work. And I thought that was mighty convenient, but whatever. So Fatima, she comes up to Karen and they have a one-on-one, and she thanks her again for the invite and said that everyone made her feel comfortable and thank you for her kind words. So Karen tells Fatima she wanted to talk to her about Andi to see what's up, like how she's been acting, how she's moving. And Fatima says she's been a little off at work and she can't get a hold of her after work. And Karen said it was the same for her and the girls. So Fatima learns in this conversation that Andi and Jordan broke up and she's shocked and appalled. And Karen told her the only reason they know about it was because Rich and Tony told Sabrina and Danny. So with this 2-week time jump, in the last episode, Andi was clearly distraught. She was crying to Fatima, telling her that Gary was trying to ruin her life. And we know how Fatima is. There's no way in the world 2 whole weeks went by and she did not get the whole story of what Andi was trying to tell her. So while they're trying to figure it out, Andi comes up to both of them saying that she can't stay. She gives both of them a kiss on the cheek and she tells them she loves them. So while she's waiting to leave, when the elevator door opens, out comes Gary bogarting his way into the party with champagne in hand as a gift. So everybody is running up like, Gary, what are you doing here? You wasn't invited. Gary was telling them, look, how am I not invited? And this is my penthouse. Andi, she's trying to get Gary to go in the room so they can talk about it. And Gary was like, look, this is the perfect time for an announcement. And a quick side note that really doesn't mean anything, but I just realized in this scene that Tony is no longer there. But we did see Rich try to defend Sabrina's honor when Gary called her a bank robber. So Fatima tells Gary, I suggest you leave before you get hurt. Nobody wants you here. And Gary was like, Zach, can you please put a muzzle on your biatch? So of course Fatima didn't take too kind of that, and she jumping bad, and then Zach is like, look, oh, you got one more time. And I'm like, what's with the one more time? That's what Danny said last episode to Tiffany, and I feel like both Gary and Tiffany should have been chin checked immediately. Karen says something and Gary starts playing in everybody's face with the theatrics, and Karen had to tell him, look, cut the ish. The games are over. Why are you here? So Gary said he wanted to see the look on their pathetic faces when he officially invited them to his wedding. So the funny part was Fatima was like, please tell us what dumb bee would allow you to swindle her into marrying you. Gary was like, well, let me introduce you to my fiance. As he's grabbing Andi, pulling her towards him, he holds up her ring finger with the bling, bling, bling on it and says, introducing Andrea Barnes. Everybody's mouth is wide open. They're confused, they're baffled, they're befuddled, and they're like, Andi, what the hell is going on, basically, and that's where the episode ends. Woo child, that doggone Gary got some big kahunas on him, you hear me? He does not care whatsoever. I really dislike Tony in this particular episode. From here on out, it's up and it's stuck, and I see in next week's trailer, Danny is going to go through his phone and he almost busts his behind trying to get out that shower to get his phone from her. What do you guys think is going to be in that phone? I cannot wait to see it. And Hayden, he's just over there just nasty. But anyway, this episode was written by Lucien Christian Adderley and Richard Byrd Wilson. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it. Let's talk about it. As always, you guys, I really do appreciate all your support. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.